Welcome to the Beyond the Vines podcast, where I interview local business owners in Sonoma County to highlight small business and grow our community. I'm your host, Amy Tailors, a mom, realtor, and Sonoma County native, and I'm excited to connect you to some amazing people in this beautiful area that we call home. Welcome back to the Beyond the Vines podcast. I'm here today with Heather Nelson. She is a good friend of mine, which we were just realizing we've known each other for 15 years. I don't know how that's possible. We met way back in my past life when I owned an event company, a wedding planning company, and she's also a client of mine, and we work together now in a networking group. So I'm so excited to have her here today. A little about Heather. She is a seasoned expert in the hospitality industry with over 20 years of dedicated experience in events, and she's also a significant influencer in Sonoma County in that field and many others as well. Heather recently founded the Connection Hive, a company committed to empowering small businesses through curating business development plans. Leveraging an extensive network, she excels in linking individuals with the precise resources needed for business growth, which is so important right now, spanning marketing strategies, event curation, and business relations management. Heather is also deeply devoted to women's empowerment, hosting the inspiring podcast, Life Conversations with a Twist. It's one of my favorite podcasts. And on that podcast, she interviews women who share their stories to inspire and empower others. Harnessing this passion, she'll be curating events that foster both professional and personal growth. Beyond her professional pursuits, Heather wears multiple hats, which you'll learn more about today, as a wife, a mother of four, a recent surrogate, and a community leader. Amidst her diverse roles, she finds joy in savoring food and wine at local restaurants, also something we have in common, a true reflection of her love for the vibrant community that she calls home. So welcome, Heather. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you. This is so fun. I was just telling Amy, I have my own podcast and I do it from home, and I don't have I have a mic. I don't have a fancy headset in this fancy room, and so it's been fun to be immersed in this. So.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having
me. For anyone
me.
watching us on YouTube, it's always fun to see the headset, the microphone, the studio. It is. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm a little jealous for sure.
I know. Well, that's why I had to get you in here, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing your podcast. Your podcast is amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
So
I'm about to celebrate 100 episodes.
Oh my gosh, you have that many. Mm-hmm. That means I've listened to at least half of them. So that's impressive. That's amazing.
It's fun.
So Can you, before we dive into the Connection Hive, can you tell me more about all of the things that you're involved in? You wear so many hats, like we mentioned earlier. So if you could give us a quick rundown of everything you do.
I need to get down my elevator pitch of exactly what I do, because I do a lot, and it feels like everyone listens to me for 10 minutes when I describe it, but here we go. We'll get back to the Connection Hive, because obviously that's what the focus is today. But yes, as you said, I am a mother of four. Mm-hmm. I have my stepdaughter's about to graduate high school.
Which is crazy that she's that old already.
Crazy. It's crazy. Been applying for colleges and all that fun stuff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, and I have them part-time. And then I also have a 2-year-old, which keeps me very busy and on my toes.
That's a whole different ballgame at that age.
They are. That's all I have to say. And then my husband and I have a company that we started about a year and a half ago called Set and Strike. This was kind of born out of, I was in a rental company for over 10 years. And coming out of the pandemic, we realized labor was such an issue. Mm-hmm. And so my husband and I actually met at Encore.
A little love story.
Little love story. That's a whole other podcast.
We should do that and get Dennis in here.
That would be fun. He actually would probably enjoy that. Then I think he'll appreciate the podcast
for
more.
Sure.
And with his labor experience and, knowing a lot of guys and a lot of labor, we're let's create this business where we basically just focus on setting up tables and chairs for events. So very easy concept. We're about a year and a half in. This year, 2023, was super successful for us.
That's amazing.
The goal is for him to really take that and grow that company. But right now I'm his admin and salesperson and all of the things.
I love that you guys found that niche too, that you were you could see from working in the events industry, this is missing, and that you were able to find that.
Exactly. And we see a lot of venues that have their own tables and chairs. Mm-hmm. They don't have they don't want to hire someone full time because they not necessarily, have an events program and doing events every day. And so we come in and support that, or they just want their in-house stuff moved. And so we can send a crew out. We have a very small crew, but we're hoping to grow that this year. And it gives me that foot in the industry the events industry still a little bit and get to work with my client, like my old past clients and stuff. So
That's so fun.
Yeah, so that's fun. That keeps us busy as well. We're coming into slow season, so for the next like 5 months, we'll be a little slower on that end. What else? I am on the board of SAY, which Social Advocates for Youth, which you had Sonia on.
Yes, that was a really like inspiring episode. That
I actually even went back listening to it. I learned so much more. And I've been on the board for almost 3 years.
Yeah, it was, if you haven't listened to that yet, I can't remember what number it is, but Sonia Bick-Barwick from SAY was on.
Yeah, it was awesome. And what SAY does for our community is amazing. We just wrapped up One Cold Night, and we're heading into our Give campaign, this coming up holiday season. So it's been really fun. I'm also the chair for the Marketing and Development Committee, which comes with my development and connections.
Wow.
I don't know. Actually, I sleep very well, which we'll get to, because I think I feel like because I do so much, everyone's like, I don't know how you do it. And I want to be able to take what I've learned over the years and be able to educate others to be able to do it too. Because I think you can have both worlds.
Yep.
I think it's about how you maintain it, the systems that you have in place, cutting out time wasters. I'm very thoughtful about my time and who I give it to. And so you just have to prioritize. And I think it can be done too.
Yep. Those are some really good tips.
Yeah. And we'll dive a little bit more into that, because I think with the Connection Hive, that's kind of, I was trying to take like my whole personal development, life coaching world that I wanted to get into.
Yes.
And then my current role of just like business development in the events industry, and like, how do I meddle that? And so we'll dive into a little bit more of how I'm trying to make that work. But that's a focus for me too. And then what else am I doing? As we talked about, I have life conversations with a twist, which is my podcast. That is a weekly podcast. That has changed it's been about 2 years, 2.5 years I've had the podcast. And I was doing it weekly where it was me, like solo episodes, or then mixed in with a guest.
Right.
And so because of the time.
Yeah. Because of that, prioritizing the time commitment.
I had to kind of change things up a little bit. So you'll hear my voice and my stories, every few episodes. But really what the goal was behind Life Conversations with a Twist is I talked to so many women in my past job, and everyone has so many cool and unique stories. And they've all been through crazy things. I mean, losing their husband, losing their child to cancer, human trafficking. I mean, you name the gamut. And I think we all live in a world where we just kind of stay in our lane and not think that anything can happen to you.
Right.
And I really wanted women to have a platform to be able to tell their story, and really to help inspire and empower other women to either A, tell their story, or B, to know that everything's going to be okay. Like if you're going through a hard time, like you can see that woman being like, oh, well, I got through that.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I can get through that.
She got through this. This is nothing.
Or like having someone to reach out to, like, hey, I know you've gone through this. Like, how do I navigate that?
Right.
And so it truly is like one of the most fulfilling things in my life that I have is my podcast, and I can't wait to grow it. That's like my next goal is with this new coming in to 100 episodes. I'm like, how do I grow it? How do I make it bigger? Right now, my stories are mostly local. I kind of want to stick to that a little bit, kind of like yourself. Like, how do we focus on our local community? And I think that's where we differ. I was thinking about this on the way here. I'm like, I have them tell the stories, but they tell the business on yours. And
because we've interviewed at least one of the same women. Yeah. So,
and most of mine are business
totally
owners.
Stories.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that we all have a story to tell, whether that's business or personal. And I just want women to feel like they have a voice and they have a journey, and they should be able to talk about it. I've been through a lot of my own, and if you go back to my episodes, I have some of those on there too.
I love it.
And so that is a passion of mine, and something that will continue
That's amazing.
for our future.
And thank you for doing that too for our community and providing those connections. I think that is why it's nice to keep it local if possible, just because it's easier to connect everybody.
I love all of my guests. Every single guest has now become a friend. I have personal relationships with them. I go, wine tasting with some of them. I might go on a coaching retreat with.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yep.
So that's what I love too.
amazing.
Is just growing that community of women. And again, yes, it's only women. I forgot to mention that. Sorry, guys. But I feel like women are always so quiet, and I want them to be able to talk more and feel safe and know that their story can definitely make a difference in someone else's life.
I love that, being able to give them the platform to use their voice.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Is that it? I think that's it.
I mean, I know you coached kids soccer.
Okay.
For a while.
Yes. I coached my. Okay. All right. I forget about all those little details. I did coach my daughter's soccer team. So I had 12-year-old girls. We had 18 on the team.
Wow.
I was the assistant coach, but still, the preteen age is hard.
The family calendar. Oh yeah, that's a hard age to coach. Yeah.
It's the coach. It's the attitudes. It's the girls that are chitty chatty. It was great, but I loved my girls. We had such a great time.
Oh, it's so
and
cool.
I kind of miss them a little bit.
Oh,
but next
so
year,
you're in for next year. Great.
I know. Dang it.
That's wonderful. Well, now I'd love to chat more about your current venture. You're one of many current ventures, but the one that we're focusing on today for the podcast, the Connection Hive. What is the Connection Hive? I know you recently started this.
I literally launched a month ago.
Incredible.
And I already have 6 clients.
Wow.
Which is great.
Filling another niche that needed to be filled again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a little backstory. So I've always been in the hospitality industry. I started back at Cattleman's Restaurant here locally, Petaluma. I actually was driving through Petaluma today. I was like, gosh, all my jobs have circled back to Petaluma.
Yeah.
So worked at Cattleman's, Petaluma and Santa Rosa for about 11 years. And that's really where I found the passion for events. I did all their banquets and marketing. So I learned about marketing and in-house kind of marketing.
Great.
And so I was there. I also worked at the Sheraton in Petaluma.
I remember that. Yep.
And I did sales there.
I remember that.
Actually did weddings. I did a little bit there. Did convention services. Did catering sales. And so that was kind of where I was introduced to sales and building relationships. And we used to cold call and go to business. It gives me anxiety again.
I can see that you're getting anxious talking about the cold calls. I don't do cold calls, so
I don't do cold calls, and I don't believe in it at all anymore. I think it's all about connections, which we'll get to that.
Yes.
So I built. That's when I really started kind of seeing the world of sales and relationships and seeing kind of how all that evolves. And then that's when I met Bridget, the owner of Encore Event Rentals, who you should definitely have on your podcast.
I was going to say, I need to contact her because she is one incredible person.
She is. Yeah. She's still yet to come on mine. She's supposed to come in January. It's fine.
Busy schedule, Heather.
Yeah.
She is incredible.
She is incredible. Yeah. She has a credible story. I've learned so much from her. I would not be here without her and that company. And so when I started at Encore, it was little baby. I mean, it was...
I remember.
3 trucks. We only had a few employees. We... minimal deliveries, minimal business, and then it just took off. And so I'd say it's probably about 11 years total that I worked there. I learned so much. It was so great to be part of the growth process for that company. But through that, as a business relationships manager, that's where I met all my people.
Yep.
I mean, my job was to go out to make connections with either venues or caterers or planners. And that's really where my network grew.
Yep.
And I did that for about 10 years. And then I've always had in the back of my head, I would love to do my own business. I always wanted to have my own business. I don't know if I want to have a huge business where I have tons of employees.
Right.
But more of just being able to pick the clients that I want, do the things that I love to do, not feel like pressured to go into an 8 to 5 job every day. I just want to, if I want to go have lunch with someone, I can, or go pick up my kids or coach soccer.
Absolutely.
There's no time behind that. And so I kind of hit my ceiling at Encore. I was there 10 years, and I just felt like it was time for me to make a move. I made a move to go work for an entertainment company doing business development as well. I did that for about 9 months out of the city. And so that also gave me more connections and kind of more insight to what companies need. I think I was totally in tunnel vision being at Encore of like, this is like, I mean, I probably could have worked there till I died.
Right.
But getting out and getting into other businesses, I could really see the need that people and companies had for business development managers. And so a lot of companies can't afford a full-time person
to keep them on staff.
And I don't think it's needed. I think, honestly, depending on the size of your company, you really don't. I think even just having a plan is better than nothing.
Yep.
And so I decided to take the leap to start my own business. In the meantime, I was like, what am I going to do? And so I worked with Samantha Paul, who is she should also be on the podcast.
She needs to be on here for sure.
She's a local event planner and producer, and she focuses more on like festivals, nonprofit, corporate. And that's what I really loved. I didn't want to get into the weddings. I didn't want to do any of that. And so she took me under her wing, and I got to produce events with her this year, which has been fun, and we'll continue to do that as well.
It's amazing.
I forgot about that hat too.
That was a major hat that we missed.
And I forgot about Be Better too.
Oh gosh, yeah.
See?
That's another hat.
I need like a little bullet point.
You need like a chart showing like maybe like a circle that you could go around and be like, or like a pie chart. This much time is allotted to Be Better, and this much is allotted to Samantha Paul.
You just totally forget. It's silly when I was talking about it today. Anywho, so when I got to a point where I was like, how can I do this for other people? And so that's where the Connection Hive came from.
It's amazing.
I went back and forth on names. I mean, as if anybody starts a business, it's like, oh, what is the name going to look like? What is the logo going to look like? I need a website. You do need all those, I think.
Right.
But more, I try to focus on the brand of like who I am, what it is, what is my why, what are my values, and those are the things that I am working through to help promote the business.
Right.
So that's where the Connection Hive kind of stemmed from.
So it's mostly consulting, right, with businesses, and then can you do that mostly from your home office or
that's my home office / bedroom?
Bedroom.
Or coffee or coffee shop. Yeah. So my goal is to really help small businesses consult, whether that's consulting on, and I can go into some of the projects that I've been working on, but basically come on as a consultant or, just to help them come up with a plan of, for business growth, whether that's marketing, whether that's social media, whether that's, working with a venue that wants to launch events. And then what my baby is business relationships, basically.
Well, and also, too, I was thinking, like, for anyone listening to this podcast specifically, we have a lot of people who are interested in businesses and just supporting local businesses, but also anyone looking to get started. I think you're a good connection for them, too.
Yes. So I wanted to take, like, my connection of people that I have. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you how many people I know in this community. And I want to be able to like meet with a business owner and find out what their needs are. And it could be something that I can't help them with, but I would love to be able to say, oh, you should talk to this consultant or have you talked to this branding person or have you connected with this person?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I think referrals are super important. I think connections, the Connection Hive,
absolutely
super important. And give them the tools and kind of like step out of their everyday world. Like every business owner is kind of like in their day-to-day business. They're just doing all the things. But to actually like have someone come from the outside with experience and look in at their business and say, hey, have you tried this or have you tried that? Well, that's what I love doing. I love curating. Nothing, like every client is very different. I really want to immerse myself in their business and their brand and understand like what they do, who their target clients are, and really kind of like get the nuts and bolts, because I think that will help me understand, and even their goals, like what are their goals in the next year? What are their goals in 5 years?
Right.
You'd be surprised some don't even have that.
Wow. Yeah.
And you can't move your business forward if you don't have those goals.
Absolutely.
And so that's why like every client is a little different based on their needs. But what I personally love doing is client relations and just becoming, developing a strategy around that. I have a client now that they've never had that before. And now they're like, we really need to focus on our clients. And you'd be surprised how many businesses don't focus on their clients. They're so focused
I was going to say, what are they distracted by?
Their day-to-day stuff, right? Running a business, having employees, maybe social media, maybe some marketing. But they don't have anyone just focused on what are we doing for our clients?
Wow.
I've met with some clients. I'll be like, who's your top 10 clients? And they'll be like, I don't know.
Wow.
And I'm like, as a business owner, you need to know who your clients are. Where is your money coming from?
Absolutely.
And what are you doing to say
what
thank
are you
you
doing for them? Yeah.
And so really coming up with a strategy for them, whether that's a short-term project or long-term. They can also bring me on as their business development manager, where I'm actually going out and meeting their clients and getting the feedback from their clients, and taking that feedback, going back to their business and saying, here's where some holes are. Right. What can we do operationally to fix that? It's exactly what I did at Encore. Yeah. I would meet with clients. They would tell me, this went wrong, or, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
Go back and say, well, this is, this feedback's going to help us fix things. And I think that getting that feedback from clients is super important. But again, if you don't have someone doing that, how will you ever know?
Right.
I've thought about, which I'm able to do, is training. So if they have a sales team, they might not necessarily want to bring me on full time as that role, but like, how can I give them the tools for their team to be able to do the same thing?
Right.
So that is what my main focus is for the Connection Hive, is really focus on that. But I also have experience in social media and marketing. And so taking a small business and just helping them come up with the plan, or a startup company. One of my clients is a startup company, and he's like, I don't know, like, I want to speak and I don't even know who to talk to or what industries to get into. And so we're going to create a strategy around that. And then also, I think the biggest key that a lot of consultants miss the boat on, it's like, here, I'm going to consult and I'm going to give you all the things and, give you a game plan, but are we holding them accountable?
Right. That's a really good point.
Like, that just gets completely missed. Yeah. And so I'm like one of those annoying people, like, did you do it? Did you do it? Good. Did you do it? And so I really want to make sure that, yes, we've come up with this amazing plan, but like, are you executing it? And are you being held accountable for when it doesn't happen? And so that's kind of like another leg of it. Yeah. And I think that will long-term, I will have clients long-term.
Yep.
Because they will always have somebody to lean on, or, to get advice, or we can reevaluate.
Well, and you're constantly reminding them, like, I'm here, I'm part of this, like, I'm here checking on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really good.
So I think there's definitely a need for it. I love doing it. I love being creative.
Yeah.
I love connecting people to the right people.
Your eyes lighting up just thinking about it right now.
It just gets so
cool
fun.
To see this. Yeah. If anyone's watching.
I'm like, it fuels my soul, you know, and I want people, especially, so one of the other parts of the business that I can do is helping them like consult on for events, and what that would look like. A winery who is a brand new winery, or they're rebranding, and they want to have wine club events, or they want ticketed events for, at their winery. And so helping them come up with a plan, coming up with different strategies, knowing, what the industry is doing right now, and seeing what other wineries are doing, or other partners that they can maybe bring back to their winery to introduce. And so that is fun.
That's brilliant.
And I have a couple clients doing that where they want some support in that. And then it's also for events, it's like getting creative. Like, let's get creative and let's bring in new and fun people.
Right.
I just did an event at the Backdrop, which is a new event space.
I don't know this event space.
It's really cool.
Is it cool?
It's really cool. It's actually at the Becoming Independent nonprofit corporate office, which is in Santa Rosa.
Wow.
And so one of their social enterprises was building this event space that they can rent out to the community. And then the money that they make in that goes back to the nonprofit, which is super cool, which he would be another one that would be good to have on.
My brain's going on that.
I was like, I have so many, every time I meet, I'm like, you should talk to Amy.
This is why you're like in this position, because I remember we were, you and I had brainstormed a little bit to see, like, you wanted to do coaching and helping people and consulting, but then we also all called you the connector, and like, you connect people, and that's literally, you've melded those two things and completely created a much needed business out of it.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
It's fun. And because of my network and because of my experience and everything that I've done, I'm like, how can I bring all of these people together? Yeah. How can I, so the Backdrop, this is a perfect example, is I worked with them for years. Through Encore, we used to do their nonprofit event for them, their fundraiser, and we would do rentals. Very cool. And when he said he opened the event center, I was like, let me help you. let me do an event for you where we bring industry people here, all the corporate planners here, the nonprofit planner, anyone in this industry that needs to see the space. I want them here and I want to showcase it. And so Park Avenue and I teamed up and did an amazing event for him where we brought in, local vendors that not necessarily everyone would know about. There's so many cool small businesses that have popped up since the pandemic. And I'm like, how do I give them a space to showcase their product and also for them to connect to people? And so that's what that event was for. We invited, I think our list was over like 600 people. We had about 250 show.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good turnout.
It was a good turnout. I'm like, okay, I probably will do that like once or twice a year is partner with a venue that wants to showcase.
Great idea.
And I brought so many great vendors in and we all got to work together and showcase what they do. And so it's been fun. I mean, and again, it's only been a month.
That's amazing.
And every day is different, and again, everyone needs different things. And I'm like, okay, well, and sometimes in creating a strategy, they're like, okay, well, we need someone to run our social media. Here, you need to talk to so-and-so.
Yep.
Or we want to do a huge major rebrand of our whole brand. And I'm like, here, talk to this person. Right. And so I know that I'm not for everyone, which is fine, but I want to be able to connect them to the right people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I think that sets you apart from other people in the industry as well, that you have all that, not just knowledge of events and knowledge of business, but also that you have all those connections. Is there anything else that sets the Connection Hive apart from other businesses that are similar to yours? And are there that many businesses similar to yours?
I think consulting is like, everyone's like, oh, I'm a consultant. I'm a consultant. And I think, yes, I think there is a need. And I think since the pandemic, a lot of people are noticing like, oh, I can do this on my own and make a decent amount of money. And again, for all the same reasons why I've done it.
Definitely.
But I think what sets me apart is I really immerse myself in the business. I mean, anybody could take a client and do something with them, but I want to know what their logo is, what their branding is, what their goals, like I had mentioned earlier. Like I want to know all of that because that helps me to set the strategy plan and then also be able to relate to their clients and have open conversations with their clients. The other thing that it sets me apart is I have a really good reputation.
Definitely.
A lot of my clients are referrals because they've worked with me in the past. And I'm proud of that. I think that my reputation in this community is good and I want to continue to grow that. And so, I don't know anyone else that are like what I'm doing, but again, there's different consultants in different fields. And I think it's all about creating like, what is that one thing that, and like I said, I've just presented like 4 or 5 different concepts that I can do.
Right.
I think in a year, I'm going to be like, okay, let's just focus on the one.
We should have you back here in a year and be like, all right, where are we at now?
Yeah. What's Heather doing? This? So cool. And, but I love all of it. And so, but I think at one point I'll probably figure out where my lane is and stick in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So here in Sonoma County, and the more I do this podcast, the more I see it, we have a vibrant business community, all kinds of different businesses and services. How do you encourage networking and collaboration among your clients, or have you yet?
Oh, networking.
We could talk about
we could talk about networking. Yes, we could talk about Be Better. Let's talk about Be Better, actually. So Be Better platform was started pre-pandemic. It was Bianca, Samantha, and myself. Yep. We were like, hey, let's start a networking group. The Santa Rosa Chamber had one. Sonoma County Women Professionals had one, but they were all kind of sizzling out. But we also wanted to provide education. So it wasn't just about networking. It's about educating in different topics. And we had if you would have saw the business plan before now, it's way different
because of the pandemic.
Yeah. But we were slow to start. But basically what it is we meet twice a month. One is a networking group, a networking event where we can invite outside members to come and meet our current members, and just give people an opportunity to network, and not necessarily in the event, like in the industry that they work in, more of a business community. And then the second event is more anybody who's a member can actually like dive into their business. So we meet for coffee and there's, 10 to 15 of us, and we go around and we say what we're struggling with. Hey, I'm struggling with social media. Hey, I'm struggling. What calendar program do you use? What podcast platform do you use? I mean, it gives us a space to be able to talk about the things that we're as a business owner struggling with.
Right. Well, and I love so I'm a part of the group, obviously. I think maybe since the beginning. I think
You're one of the first.
Yeah, and
you're the OGs.
I'm one of the OGs. I love those Thursdays when we do that because it is interesting to sit around at a table and be with all different business owners, all different people in different industries, and be able to see there's so much that we all can relate to on a business level that we're struggling with for whatever reason, and it's very amazing and interesting to have those connections with people outside our normal industry.
Well, and I think so many people think, I have to network with our industry.
Right.
Yes, of course, because you want to know what is going on. But I think getting outside of your industry and being able, that's how I got some of my clients.
Absolutely. I've gotten clients for sure from Be Better Network.
Because it's like you get to know that person as a person and as a brand, and you're more likely to refer them.
Yeah.
And you know how they work, you know how they operate, you know how they communicate, and so it just makes referrals a lot easier. I think it's not a BNI process where you're
super strict.
Yeah, like making sure you have referrals. It's just it's a nice, fun platform to be able to network and bounce ideas off of. And then this year we're going to start doing an educational program where we'll be once a quarter, where it will be like a lunch and learn where we dive into more topics and have like panel speakers and such. So I've always encouraged networking. I know that was my role when I was with Encore, and every job that I've had to go out and network. It is so huge.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest takeaway for people networking is don't like you'll meet someone and you're like, oh, they're not going to give me business. You never know. You never know where that connection is going to come up later in your life. So I highly, recommend getting out there, introducing yourself to people, shaking hands, getting business cards. And then the next thing that most people fail to do is follow up or checking in like, hey, it was great meeting you. Get connected on LinkedIn, stay connected with those people because you never know, again, where referral business is going to come from, or you're looking for somebody specific and you're like, oh, at that one networking event, I met this amazing realtor. Right. You never know.
Yep.
And so, yes, I am a big believer of networking.
Well, and I love it too because, we've been talking lately about like old school marketing and networking the way it used to be. And there's something really special about that. And that's really where the connections are made. It's not just social media, as amazing as social media is. It's getting back to the grind of like being out and meeting people and talking to people and how important that is. So it's a game changer.
It is. Yeah. So Be Better is great.
Yeah.
I highly encourage it. I encourage it with my clients. And sometimes, networking is not for everyone. Absolutely. I personally enjoy it. One of those weird people.
You do really like it. I love that about you. Sometimes I have to get my step out of the box. I know you're tired. Get dressed for the networking event, cute, and go out and meet people. It is hard, but once you're there, it's so fun.
I have been to, I don't even know how many networking events I've been to over my career. I don't even want to try and think about it.
But that's why you have all these connections.
Exactly. But what I always found are the ones that I really didn't want to go to, the ones I was dreading, the ones that I'm finding every excuse to not go, are always the ones that I had the best connections with.
That's really interesting and a very good reminder to everybody.
Yep. Yeah. So when you don't want to go, just go.
Just go.
Just go.
Nothing bad's going to come out.
Just have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Stick with someone you know and meet people. That's the thing is you can't just go to an event and sit in a corner. You need to put yourself out there.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. So you seem to have such a good grasp on juggling it all. And entrepreneurs in general can struggle with work-life balance. It is very hard when you're a business owner to turn that off, work and focus on kids and focus on family and friends. How do you advise your clients to maintain that equilibrium? And how do you personally do that?
Great question. And now that I'm an entrepreneur myself, I'm like, oh, this is different on this side. Setting boundaries, I think, is number one. Oh, let's talk client-wise first. Yeah. One of the things that I really want to do with my clients is I want them to have a work-life balance. I mean, I meet so many business owners that are just running ragged because their business is running them. Yep. And they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And they should really focus on the things they love doing. And so this is actually a conversation that I recently had with one of my clients is, let's get you to the point where you're doing what you love, and let's be able to peel off the things that you don't love.
Right.
whether that's giving that to another staff member, or it's hiring a consultant, or it's hiring someone to do those things. I think that I 100% believe in that, because I think you can be a better business owner if you were doing everything.
Agree.
And every business owner cannot do everything.
No.
Like, you can't be good at finance and social media and marketing and business development and networking. Like, you can't do all of that. And so knowing what you're not good at and the things you don't love and being able to source that out. So I really am trying to give people that. And I think that's a selling point for bringing me in, is to take some of those things like away from them.
Great point.
So yes, I highly encourage that. And I think with the Connection Hive too, I had talked about like, how do I bridge that gap of what I love doing is like life coaching and, you know, living the best life you have, and, you know, you only live once, and, you know, setting goals and really like pushing yourself to being the person you want to be, or living the life that you want to live. I'm like, how do I give that to my business owners? So that's where I'm like trying to bridge that gap with the Connection Hive, is to be able to focus on both of those. So myself, it's a lot of work. I tell people systems.
Absolutely.
Have a system for everything, and ask for help. My mom helps with my son a lot. You know, sometimes you have to ask a neighbor or your daughter's best friend's mom. I mean, you kind of just have to put yourself out there to just ask for help. I wouldn't be able to do it without any of them.
Absolutely.
For me, I'm super uber organized. You know, in every day in life, and you're like, oh, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or oh, I forgot I need to do this. Write it down.
Oh yeah.
I can't, I'm like, write it down or put it. I have a notes pad or a to-do list on my phone, and I'll at least put it there. And then at the end of the day, if I didn't get to it, I can like move it to a day. I'm super thoughtful about my time. Every day, I'm like, okay, here are the meetings I have, and here's the time that I have allocated, and like, what am I doing in that time? And scheduling those out. I hate grocery shopping. Again, we're talking about
you.
We go back
outsourcing.
Yes, we go back to entrepreneurs doing the things that they hate doing.
Yes.
You should do that in your everyday life. Are there things that you're doing in your life that are A, time sucks, and B, like things you don't love
that
doing?
Don't bring you joy.
No. Grocery shopping does not bring me joy. Cooking and preparing food brings me joy.
Right.
I don't like going to the grocery store, so I rely on Instacart.
I really would. I need Instacart. I need Trader Joe's to have Instacart. Then I would be with you on that. I have to go to Trader
I have to go to Trader Joe's, but
favorite.
I do it like once a month. And
okay, there you go.
Yeah. I have a Trader Joe's list, a Costco list, and then like my everyday list.
And that Target pickup, I don't know if you do that, but that is my lifesaver. When you just tell the app you're coming and you pull into the spot, and I can tell the app my husband's coming and he pulls into the spot, and it's just the best.
I think we have to thank COVID for all of that, because none of that would have been here.
I'm in that Target parking lot. I have had like coffee dates with friends in the Target parking lot, being like, "Oh, you're here again today too? Spot number 5? Yep, great."
Speaking of coffee, like I see these people stand in these long Starbucks lines where it's like 20, and I'm like,
I can't even imagine.
Place your order on the app. I walk right in and I'm out, and you're still literally in the same exact spot.
I mostly make my own coffee, but you're right. That's good. And just so anybody hasn't noticed, that Target pickup, if you ever do it, you can order your coffee from the app, so they will bring it to you with your Target order.
Like the Starbucks that's in it?
It's pretty brilliant. It's pretty
I'm embracing all of these things.
But you're right. And it does take some of that letting go of it, because I mean, if you'd asked me 3 years ago if I would ever let anybody grocery shop for me, I'd be like, "What? What do you mean?" You know, like, but it's true. If they just need to get on board with Trader Joe's,
yes,
for sure, it's a huge time saver.
Costco. I mean, you go to Costco, you have your list of 4 things, and you walk out with 20.
Yes. Oh,
but if you order on Instacart, you're only buying what you need.
No, I agree.
You're not browsing.
No, I agree.
So I think it is also, it's a time saver, but I also think it's a money saver.
I do think the Instacart drivers are probably not very happy with me when I do Costco order, though, because I have so many kids that's why I don't like to go to Costco, because I need 2 carts. You're the same. Like,
I don't feel bad about it. We're keeping people employed.
This is true. I
mean, these are people who are doing this either on a side.
There's a lot of stuff in my order.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad too sometimes.
We eat a
Sometimes
lot
I'll go
of
out and
food.
help them unload the car.
That's true. I've definitely done that too. Or I've made my kids do it too. I'm like, this is all for you guys. Go help.
Or you're like, kids, can you start screaming when they get here? So they were like, oh, now we know why you don't go to Costco.
Now we know why you're not going to Costco. I will say my oldest daughter, that is the only place she has ever had a tantrum. She is the easiest, most chill kid. But when she was 2, she lost it in Costco. And I was like, I came here and I have to get my stuff. So we're just sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm telling you though, I mean, I think just identifying anything in your life again, and I think it even goes back to people, right? People who are time sucks, those friends that are time sucks, those people who are negative. I mean, you kind of have to, you know, make things a priority in your life, and make sure the time that you're doing is, you know, thoughtful. And I do have to say I do work at night a lot.
Yeah.
But I do that when the kids go to bed. But that gives me the time to be able to like pick them up from school or take them to a doctor's appointment or take them to soccer. I think the other thing is when I talked about systems, I think anything you do in your work business has to have a system. Right. You know, for my podcast, I literally, and I didn't even say this, I have a podcast. I do all the scheduling. I do the interviews. I do the editing. I post to the platform.
A lot of time
I market it. I do the graph. I do everything.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
But I have processes. Like I have Calendarly that like helps me calendar things and follow, you know, sends the follow up to the client. So putting those things in place ahead of time just makes things a little bit more time efficient. And I would love to help clients with that, you know, sitting down and looking at their time and saying, like, where can we shave some time? What are you doing that's a time suck? And, like, how do we get that time back by changing things up a little bit? And so I'm just having a different perspective on that. But those are the things that I do to kind of make myself seem like I got it all together.
You do have it all together. But it is because you are so organized.
I am very organized. Yeah. And not everyone is, like, super crazy like that or Virgo brain.
I do wonder, it is a genetic thing because I'm like you in that way too in my list, and I can't even imagine not having systems in place. And it's pretty, but I do think it is like a personality thing for sure. But you're able to then teach that to others in your business because it's not natural for everybody.
Right. And calendaring things, right? You have, I mean, I go back to my clients who are hiring me for business development is you have a conversation with the client, then calendar the next time you're going to reach out to them, or calendar, you know, in 6 months, put on a calendar because then you don't have to think about it. And it's just
going to fall through the cracks.
It's going to,
There's too many clients. There's too many things in your head. Yeah, you definitely, I agree.
And there's CRM programs that you can set all that up to schedule those reminders or even to set the emails up. So I'm embracing technology. I think technology has saved my life, has saved my business, and has made me successful. The other thing that I just want to chat on is ChatGPT.
You and I have definitely had this conversation.
Yeah. I'm a creative. I have all the ideas, but to actually put, you know, everything down in writing is not my strong suit. Yep. So good old ChatGPT. I mean, you would be amazed at what it can produce.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's another time saver.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's really helpful. And it's, I mean, I've talked to you about this, but I've also, my friend Lindsay, I'll give her a little shout out, but I call her. I'm like, okay, I'm in the car. Can you type this into ChatGPT and see what it tells you? Like, does that work? And she's always like, yes, it worked. Oh my God, look at the recipes or whatever. It's so cool.
Someone said it can plan a trip. Like you could say, I'm going to San Francisco on this day. Can you find me a flight and a hotel, blah, blah, and like give it a budget.
Kidding?
That I haven't tried it, but that's what I've heard.
Oh, I'm calling Lindsay and asking her to try this after. She and I geek out over this.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Coming off of business, what are 3 fun facts about you personally?
Oh, I changed my outfit today, but I was going to wear, I just got a strawberry shortcake shirt.
Oh, cute.
To embrace the 80s.
Why did you change it?
I don't know, because it was a t-shirt, not a sweater. But I love the 80s. If anyone knows me, I love 80s. I love 80s music. I just, that era was just amazing to me. And so I'm definitely an 80s girl to heart.
Agree.
Movies, music.
All of it was
all
so
of
good.
it. Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And now all the like t-shirts are popping up and clothing. I'm like, yes.
And our kids are wearing them. Yes. My kids look like they've been shopping in the Delia's catalog from the 90s. I'm like, I had that shirt.
Oh my God. So funny.
Yep.
The other thing is you kind of mentioned it in my bio. I was a surrogate.
That's an amazing.
That's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, I was a surrogate. The little girl that I had the baby that I had, I should say, she's 3.5 now.
Wow, that was that long ago?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you keep in touch?
I do.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That is
they're amazing.
Really
they're living
special.
in Florida. They're living their best life.
Wow.
She probably goes to Disney World every month, I would say.
my
I mean, she's
gosh.
spoiled, and I'm so happy.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, they must be so thankful for you.
That was a special thing in my life. Something I'll never forget. Something I would love to do again, but getting a little older, so we'll see. Only time will tell. And the other thing is, I mean, I love food and wine. I love cooking. I love looking for recipes. I'm on a 5-day juice cleanse. Today's my last day, and I'm cannot wait to eat again.
What are you going to eat? So today, can you eat tonight or tomorrow?
I can eat tomorrow.
What are you eating tomorrow?
I don't know. I'm going to lunch with a client, and so I'm probably a salad, I think.
Okay,
I literally haven't chewed on anything in 5 days.
Okay. Maybe you could type into ChatGPT and be like, I just finished a 5-day cleanse. What should I eat? And see what it says.
They're all soup. I'm like, no, I need substance.
No.
Yeah. So I just wanted a reset just to try and get back on track. But so I'm starving, but I do love food and I love wine. I mean, we live here in Sonoma County. We are so spoiled by the food and wine here.
Agree.
And booze, I should say, in general.
I find that when we travel, I always think I'm so excited to try all these places when we're traveling. And I'm like, oh, I kind of miss the food from home. You know, we have just really good food here in Sonoma County.
And I love all the
restaurants.
small restaurants and
It's pretty magical.
Yeah.
For sure. At the end of each episode, I like to ask if there's anyone that's really helped you with your career that you want to give a shout out to. And it can be more than one person.
There's definitely a few, but I mean, I mentioned Bridget. I would not be here in my career without her. Samantha Paul, for sure. She is my go-to for everything. I literally talk to her probably more than my husband a day, bouncing ideas off of each other. She helps me with the contracts. I mean, we're definitely yin and yang. Her strengths are my weakness and vice versa. So I think we balance each other out really well. And then I would say my other one is Diane from Park Avenue. Her and I are really good friends. Another great, woman-owned business.
Yep.
Just as it's you need someone who's in business to talk you through the business things, but then also someone that's here to hear you on your personal stuff and support you.
So true.
When I gave birth to my 2-year-old, I had COVID.
I remember that.
And I came out of the hospital with COVID, and it was pretty traumatic, actually. And you can go back to one of my episodes to hear it.
A podcast episode.
It is.
That's, if anybody's curious to start listening, that would be a really interesting one to start with.
I think I did 2 on that one.
You might have. I don't remember. I remember hearing it on the podcast.
So Samantha and Diane literally brought me food for a month. And when I talk about meal plan, I mean, they meal plan. They breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, dessert. I mean, the whole thing.
Did they bring you a Park Avenue brownie?
They did, actually.
Oh, yes. Those are my favorite.
Really good.
Little shout out to Diane on that.
And then, of course, all my friends and family. I mean, everyone has been so supportive in this journey. I'm so thankful that it's been already successful, but just hearing the love. I mean, that backdrop event was a lot of clients, old, past, current clients, and, just the words of encouragement have been super special to me.
Well, you give back so much. I think people are so happy to help you in any way that they can. And they value your service. And so I think that's really everything that you need to make this successful.
Thank you. One thing I just wanted to mention that I did not mention is with the Connection Hive is we talked about the personal development side of that. I do want to do some more curated women events, whether that is a retreat. That's coming soon. Vision board parties to really embrace the whole women empowerment that I love so much, but doing more events around that. Small business, women owner, curated kind of special events around that too. So more to come on that.
I want to hear more about the retreat when you're ready.
Yep, coming soon.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, my listeners, if they want to hire you or if they want to know more about the Connection Hive or any of your businesses?
Okay, so the Connection Hive is theconnectionhive.co.
Great.
That is a website that I built on my own. So I'm going to put that plug in there. It's not professional-ish.
I saw it and it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's GoDaddy website, but it's great for now. I am working on getting a new one. But that's where you can kind of get connected with me. Social media, I'm definitely on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Great.
So for the Connection Hive, it's on Instagram, it's the.connection.hive.
Perfect.
On Instagram. You can also follow me personally at heathernelson.life on Instagram. And that's where I talk more about kind of my more everyday life and my podcast. And then you can find me on LinkedIn under Heather Nelson.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Also, I do want to just say for your website, I think it's so great that you didn't like get stuck on it and wait for it to be perfect before you launched all of this. I think that's
I
so
wanted
key.
to.
People do that. And I think it's so key that you're like, okay, this is what it is now. And I'm going to get the ball rolling and I'll fix it later.
Yep.
You know? So I think it's beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you for doing this.
Happy to have you here.
Oh,
so.
thank you. And I love what you're doing. This
Thank
is,
you.
I mean, I love you personally and everything that you're doing, but being able to have small businesses really dive into their business. I mean, I've listened to a few of yours and just like diving into like the nitty gritty, but it just connects you to these people even more and you want to like go give back and you want to go support them. And so I totally, again, I've been telling everyone, I'm like, you need to go on Amy's podcast.
Oh, I love that.
Because I think it's so important for us to talk about.
I really appreciate that. I'm finding that people keep saying to me like, oh, I didn't even know Barbara Sellers was there. Or I definitely want to try Balanced Sports Performance or all of the businesses I've had on. And it just, I'm learning so much from doing this from everybody. And I almost quite honestly forget that I'm even like recording it and putting it out there because it's like, I feel like I'm getting these amazing lessons. So it's fun to hear that, oh, people are listening and they're excited to try these places and it's helping other businesses as well. So thank you for that.
Yep.
So
Keep it going.
thank you. And thank you everyone for listening.
If you like what you hear, please be sure to like and subscribe, learn more about Sonoma County and all that we have to offer here.